Hello, plant life people. Thanks for joining us on my weekly cooking demo. Today we have an amazing recipe that I'm excited to share with you. So we'll get started in just a moment. Welcome. I think we have only one viewer here right now, so we will give everyone a few minutes to log in. Say hello in the chat if you're around. Wonderful. So I have been offline for a few weeks, and that is because I actually moved. So I was based in Mississauga, and now I'm based in the east side of Ottawa. So we had a crazy couple of weeks, which is why I haven't been on my cooking demos, but I have my whole brand new kitchen set up, which is not in the basement anymore, and I'm super excited about that. So I'm excited to bring you this very first recipe in my new kitchen. But first of all, I wanted to show you this wonderful tank top that I'm wearing that I'm super excited to have because it has a Star Wars reference on it and a vegan reference. And I wanted to let you know where I ordered it from. So you can find these tank tops on a website called Teespring by a user called Humane Republic. And this is a person in California who is actually raising money for her daughter who has leukemia. But the designs are awesome that they have. It has an awesome vegan message on them, and the quality of it is quite soft and nice. I'm really pleased to have it. So if you get a chance, go and check that out. Humane Republic on the Teespring platform. And I see my friend Connie logging in, so that's awesome. Hi, Connie. Yes, we have way more space in this kitchen, so I have a lot of room for you. So today's recipe is actually from a cookbook called Oh She Glows, and it's a very good cookbook, and the Oh She Glows recipes are very delicious. Some of them are a little bit more complicated, but this recipe is super easy. And again, it's one of those recipes, I love cooking, where you can use a bunch of different vegetables, whatever you like, and you can also use the sauce that we're going to make in multiple different ways. So we're going to be making a cold noodle salad with an orange miso dressing. So I have some really awesome tips for you. And again, this dressing can be used as a salad dressing. You could use it warm in a stir fry. You can make this cold noodle salad. So it's super versatile, which I love because I only cook usually for 2 people. And so if you make a full recipe, you're just going to have a ton of leftovers. So if you can use them in different ways, you don't get bored. So without further ado, we're going to get started. And I have so much room on my counter that I can show you all of the different things all at once. Look at this. So this looks like a lot of stuff going on here, but it's actually pretty simple. So for the salad, the sauce we'll get to in a second, but for the salad, you want to have some sort of cold noodles. So I made these whole grain or whole wheat vermicelli noodles, but you can use soba noodles. You could use a pack of Mr. noodles that you have. You can use whatever you want as long as they're cold. So I cooked them according to the package, and I actually cooked them in some leftover veggie broth I had, which is a really great way to add some flavor. But super, super important for a cold noodle salad, you need to rinse everything with some cold water, and you also need to put a bit of oil on it. So I usually try to reduce the oil in my recipes, but you need it for this so that the noodles don't stick together. And my friend Connie is saying her daughter is saying, ooh, look at all this stuff. So then I have a bunch of other veggies for my salad. So I've got shredded carrots, I've got shredded cabbage, I've got some zucchini noodles I cut up, green onion, and green peas. But you can put anything. You can put sliced red pepper really thin. You could put edamame instead of peas. You can do basically clean out your fridge, whatever kind of crispy vegetable you have. Use it. I would avoid using stuff that has a lot of water content like cucumbers, because if you keep the leftovers, it'll just get super watery. So we'll put that salad together after. So for the sauce, most people have these ingredients at home. If not, you should get them because they're amazing in a lot of recipes. So what we are going to do, actually, I'll just show you the ingredients as I make it, and we'll go from there. Otherwise, we'll get too complicated. So the first thing you need is an orange. So in this recipe, you can use orange juice. So you would need a 1/4 cup of orange juice. But a really healthy trick I learned from Dr. Greger, who wrote How Not to Die, is to use the whole entire fruit because you'll get the fiber out of the fruit. And in this case, for our recipe, it'll also make the sauce thicker. So you want to cut off each end of your orange, and you can eat that if you don't mind getting messy. And so what you want to do, instead of peeling this and trying to get rid of all the white pulp, we're just going to actually cut the peel off, and we're going to throw everything in our bullet blender here. So you just want to take your knife and go around the edge. Try to be as thin as possible. You don't want to waste that, but you want to get rid of that white pith that's on the outside, because you don't want a giant chunk of that stuff in your dressing, but you do want the fiber from the flesh of the orange itself. So that's why we're going to use this whole orange instead of orange juice. So this was pretty easy. It's probably going to be pretty messy if you have a really ripe orange. And then what I usually do then in the inside is you can try to take out this little spidery guy out of there. And then if you have, this is supposed to be a genetically modified seedless orange, but there is some seeds in there. So take those out, and then you want to put everything in right in the blender. So we're going to blend this up, and we'll get tons of juice. We'll probably get more than a 1/4 cup of juice out of that, but we'll get all that nice fiber and the flavor. So what I usually do with this recipe, because I just want to make sure I juice this orange, is I'll blend the orange first. So we're just popping that in our normal bullet blender. And it just juices up really easily. So you can see that sort of in there. It's going to look kind of foamy, but that's fine. It'll make the sauce thick. And then you just want to check, because you are going to get a lot of fiber, but if you get any really huge pieces, you might want to take that out because it's just not pleasant. So this one is a little bit too big, this skin here. It's just not pleasant to eat. So just check it and see if there's any other big pieces, but otherwise the flesh part of it, you're just like eating an orange, it's okay. So we're just going to take these little skin pieces out here. There you go. So now we have our blended orange, which is super healthy, lots of fiber. And now the rest of the ingredients are very simple. So the first thing you are going to need is some light miso. So again, this sounds like some sort of fancy ingredient, but you can actually get this exact brand at Walmart very cheap. And what we need for that is 3 tablespoons. So I have my 1.5 tablespoons here. And it's very sticky, which is why we need a blender. I think this recipe would be really hard without a bullet blender, but you could use, if you have like a smoothie blender, if you have a Vitamix, like even a food processor will work. Anything like that is fine. Let's get that all in there. Come on now, there we go. So that is our miso paste. And then the next thing you're going to need is rice vinegar, again available at any grocery store. And we're going to need 2 tablespoons of that. 1 and 2. So if you can see into the side here, this is making a lot of sauce, so you can use it for a lot of things. So the next thing we need then is our tahini, again available at any grocery store. I don't have a favorite brand, I just buy whatever I can find usually. But I do have, because tahini and the maple syrup actually, but tahini is so messy that I always use like a long metal spoon to get it out, because I just don't want to stick my whole hand. And actually, if I eyeball that, you know, I don't like using measuring spoons. This is probably a tablespoon here. So we're going to do 1 tablespoon of tahini. But tahini is delicious. If you want to put more in, it will be even more delicious. So we're going to get that all in there. Scrape it off. Don't waste any, unless you want to lick the spoon after maybe. All right, so there's our 1 tablespoon of tahini. delicious tahini. And next we need a little bit of water. So I'm actually going to put the water in last because we do have a lot of liquid from the orange. So let's just see how this turns out before we put our water in. Because for this cold noodle salad, we actually want the sauce to be pretty thick so that it'll like stick to all the noodles. So then we need a little bit of sweetener. We're going to use maple syrup here. And don't worry, you will not taste the maple syrup in it. That is not a flavor profile. It's just for sweetener. So we have that there. These can go over here. Look at that. I have a convenience sink right here. Just throw everything in. It's awesome. Great. So there we go. So maple syrup, you can get it anywhere. A lot of people use this as a sweetener even in their coffee and stuff like that. So it's a little bit more, it's a lot better for you than just sort of like white sugar. So natural sweetener there is really good. So the only other ingredient that would have been in this is some sesame oil. But I used the sesame oil actually on the noodles to make sure they didn't stick. So I'm not going to put the full amount in here because it's supposed to be 1 tablespoon, but I probably already used a bunch in the noodles. And sesame oil is very strong. So even if you just put it on the noodles, you will for sure get the flavor out of there. But I am going to put a teeny tiny drizzle in here because I love sesame oil. Awesome. So this is already pretty liquidy, you can see. So I'm not going to add water right now. I'm just going to blend this up, and I'm trying to be clean in my new kitchen, so I'm going to take a moment to wipe this up. Here we go. So super simple. We just need to make sure the tahini and the miso get mixed up. Because even though they are delicious, miso and tahini, you probably don't want a giant chunk of miso all at once in your mouth. So now we have this amazing thick sauce. So again, you could throw this in a stir fry. You could use this just as a regular salad dressing. You could probably drink it straight out of here. It's so good. All right, so let's get rid of this stuff, which I have tons of room for. It's so amazing. Bowl. So we have our bowl here. Any bowl. So what I'm going to do actually is put the noodles first because even though I did oil them, they're probably going to stick together a bunch. Oh, and my dad is just showing up now. We're making, if anyone is just joining, we are making a recipe from Oshi Glows, and it is the cold noodle salad. So we have our noodles, oiled noodles, and then what I want to do, I made these zucchini noodles because I love zucchini. So that's half a zucchini. We're going to throw that in there. And then I wanted to put the zucchini in as a way to make the noodles separate because, like I said, even though they are oiled, they're going to stick together. And actually, you can probably just rip them up. This is not very professional, but you know what? Sometimes you got to cut your spaghetti and your noodles. I remember, when you're a kid and your parents cut your noodles for you. So there you go. So you can see that we're getting those noodles mixed around in the zucchini noodles. Because you want this to be enjoyable to eat. You want to get it stuck everywhere. Now we're going to do our cabbage, and we're going to do the same thing. Actually, the cabbage would be good, if you cooked it down a little bit to soften it and then cooled it off. Whoa, I have escaping stuff. So that's all starting to look mixed. And we're going to put our carrots in, which are shredded. If you have a spiralizer, you can spiralize your carrots too. But we're going to keep going with mixing. There we go. And then I have some peas. So these are frozen peas. And I just put some hot water in them for a couple of minutes, and now they're not frozen anymore. So those are going in. I really love this recipe. Actually better with edamame, but I didn't have any today. And then this is probably 3 or 4 green onions. I love green onions. So we're going to put those in. But like I said, any kind of hard vegetable, radish, red pepper is really good. That would give this like a little bit of different color because we just kind of have green and orange today. So that is all mixed in. So let's rinse my hands off. And so there you go. So yeah, I think red pepper in this is a must. It would definitely be really good. And I did end up making quite a bit of salad, but I'm just going to dump, 3/4 of this on, and let's see what happens here. You don't want to have any, like when you make your leftovers, you don't want to have any standing sauce at the bottom. You want it all to absorb into the veggies. So you're just going to, the noodles are still sticking together. I boiled them up good, but like I said, rip them up, mix the veggies in really well, and then you can get your sauce. So this is pretty saucy, but not saucy enough for me. So I'm going to go the whole way. Oh, and see, classic mistake. Here's a giant chunk of miso. I'm going to put that to the side. So I should have blended that a little bit longer, but I didn't want to bore you guys with my blender. So there we go. And again, you're just going to have to mix it. The vermicelli noodles are great, but I find when I make this recipe with regular rice noodles, way better. And that's it. Let's get some of those green peas at the top because I have to taste test this stuff. Yeah, my dad's just mentioning that green onions seem to be expensive lately, which is true. A lot of stuff is going up in price, which makes no sense. It's vegetables. And okay, so we are done. So basically any veggies you want, you're going to blend your sauce and you're going to mix it all up, and then you can keep it as leftovers. So that is all in there. Again, get as much color as you can. Like if you have purple cabbage, red pepper, green pepper, you've got your greens in here, like make it a rainbow. It's the healthiest way. And then we have our, I'm having a mind fart. Oh, our everything bagel mix is here. So we made this on one of my last, I think the last video I made, we made this. So we're going to put a bunch of that on, just enough to taste test it. And there you go. Look at that amazing thing. Hope the lighting is good in here. Amazing. Oh, Connie is saying that they're addicted to the everything bagel. So am I. I am also addicted to it. I literally put it on everything, like morning toast. I have like hummus and tomatoes on toast in the morning. I put that on. I put it on my stir fry. I put it on this. I put it on my salad. I put it on my pasta. Everything. The only thing I haven't had this on in a long time is an actual bagel. So if we're all ready for our taste test, and again, thanks for joining me in my new kitchen. I'm so excited to have so much room because it just makes it a whole lot easier to make these easy, cheap vegan recipes. And that is the whole point of my channel, is to let people know that eating vegan food is cheap and easy and way healthier for yourself, the planet, and the animals. All right, let's get a bite here. So this is going to be messy. This is going to be a messy taste test. I'm sorry. Look at that. Beauty. Oh, look at that focus on that camera. I love it. I love it. Except for the lighting in here is a little crazy. Okay, let's do it. Shut up and eat. Okay. I'm blowing on it, but it's cold. Mmm. 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 So messy, but so good. So right away you get that orange, and like way better orange flavor than using orange juice. So definitely do that. And you get a little bit of the green onion. You got miso in there, and you got the sesame oil. So good, and your crunch. So definitely make this. I'm going to sign off soon because my battery is dying on my camera. But please stay in around if you have time and watch some other videos, because it'll show YouTube that you like my channel, and then you stayed on YouTube. It'll really help. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram too. And I will be back next week, maybe with a different t-shirt, but same awesome new kitchen. So thanks for joining me, everybody. I really appreciate the support, and I hope you have a good night. Okay, bye.